What's up, friends? It is Corey from SuperKamiGuru9000, and there's pretty much no question that here at the SuperKamiGuru9000 team that we love shonen action series. We love Dragon Ball, we love One Piece, we love Naruto, we love them for their intense action, their interesting characters, and their awesome backgrounds for their fights. And when I heard that Funimation had just gotten the license for Toriko, I was extremely excited because this is a series I know almost nothing about, but it seems like it's really interesting and doing a lot of really new things. And I just picked up the very first box set for the series, which was just released by Funimation Entertainment. This is episodes 1 through 13 of Toriko, and I've only seen the first couple, and I just want to give you guys my impressions on the series and what I think so far. And I gotta say, this is one of the most fun action series I've ever seen, and it does a lot of really interesting things. And if you guys haven't checked it out, you need to see it. So let's go over Toriko. So before I talk about the actual show itself, let's just go over the packaging of this DVD set. Now, first and foremost, it's pretty standard. You're going to get a lot of your main characters on the front, but it's not too crowded. In fact, the actual DVD itself comes with a slipcover, which is the exact same thing you actually see right here, and it shows off a lot of the main characters. You have Toriko sitting right there, who is a really interesting character, I have to say, in his design. He actually kind of looks like a mixture of Goku and Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. And ironically, he's also wearing orange as well, which is definitely a staple for shonen series. Definitely a tribute to Dragon Ball. You have Komatsu right here, whose Japanese voice actor is actually the voice of Hitsugaya from Bleach, and Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, so I thought that was very funny and almost immediate off the bat. He's a very funny character. And then you have Terry right here, who is the Battle Wolf, who's a character who gets introduced a little bit later on. And then behind them you see a lot of the monsters that they're going to be encountering in the series, and a lot of the creatures they're going to be battling, as well as on the back of the series you'll get to see that. And you get a little bit of explanation about what the actual series is about, and then you get a little bit more information about what you're going to get on the actual DVD itself, such as some commentaries on some of the episodes, which are only done in English, by the way. You're not going to get commentaries in Japanese, and you're also going to get some trailers and some textless commentaries as well. So pretty standard stuff from Funimation on their part, but pretty interesting looking cover. But now that we understand that, let's actually talk about the show itself. And it's got a really interesting setting. It's set in sort of this alternate world universe, kind of like in Dragon Ball. They say it's Earth, but it's not really Earth because some of the things are weird. And it's the Gourmet Age, kind of like how it's the Pirate Age in One Piece. What it means by the Gourmet Age is essentially in this world, there are these fantastical ingredients and creatures all over the world that people seek to eat. Yes, there are these gourmet hunters who go around looking for these incredibly rare ingredients, whether they be these incredibly dangerous creatures such as devil pythons, or they just be some really simple things like a piece of fruit known as the rainbow fruit. The point is, these foods are incredibly high quality, and all the chefs of the world look for them. And it's an interesting concept. It's kind of weird, actually, and once you get past the fact that it's basically just a bunch of really overly buff characters looking for rare food, you start to enjoy it a little bit more because these characters are incredibly interesting, and getting to see them interact with this world is really funny because it's just so built up. In fact, at the beginning of every single episode, they're going to give you this like sort of little thing. They'll say, someone once said there was this rare field of tofu that existed, that when the sun came out, it cooked it and crisped it up. And then they'll say, and then there was this ancient tree that dripped chocolate, and then there was this plant that gave you a bowl of rice. It's so ridiculous and crazy, but you buy into it and you really get into it. And you're like, wow, this is such an inventive world. And all of the backgrounds and everything look really nice, and the animation itself is really fun. Like I said, this is going to feature a lot of characters, the gourmet hunters. One of them is, of course, Toriko, our main character, who is basically a mercenary hunter, and he's known to be one of the 4 heavenly kings, which are basically these 4 guys who are just really badass and able to capture just about anything. And, at the beginning we get to see him meet up with this other timid character who I already said was Komatsu right there. And he's a chef, and he meets up with him, and he meets up with Toriko because he needs him to capture this rare ingredient, which is known as a Garara gator, which essentially is this 300-year-old gigantic alligator creature. And eventually him and Toriko, they track it down, and Toriko actually fights against this monster using just his bare fists. And that's sort of the whole point. We get to see that these characters have all these really cool powers. And from what I've seen, Toriko has these like super powered abilities. He's able to like pump up his arms, and he can punch the crap out of stuff, but he does have his signature technique. Goku's got his Kamehameha, Naruto's got his Rasengan, Luffy's got his stretching abilities. Toriko has the knife and the fork. And it's so ridiculous at first. When I saw this, I'm like, is he really doing this? And like, he starts pumping himself up. He has this like pink aura coming up around him. And he's like, knife, fork, ridiculous because this giant alligator is just like flying up in the air, and it's so cool looking. You know, like I said, if you're initiated with shonen series, you shouldn't be too shocked by the things you're going to see. But it's all really fun stuff. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And this is another one of those anime series that I'm like, this is an anime for the sake of anime. It takes advantage of the fact that it's animation. It does a lot of things that you just can't do in live action. And I like that. It really takes advantage of everything. And there's a ton of other characters. Like I said, there's Toriko, there's Komatsu. They introduce a few other members of the Four Heavenly Kings who have hilarious names, by the way. There's Coco, who's actually this guy who, he's a poison man. He actually has all these poison things in his bodies and all these enzymes, and poisons can't hurt him, but he can poison other people, and he has a lot of other cool fighting abilities. There's another character by the name of Sunny, who is one of the most hilarious-looking characters I've ever seen. He uses his hair to fight. And, you know, it almost seems kind of ridiculous at first, but like I said, once you get past the premise, you'll start enjoying it. You'll start to realize that this is just a really well-thought-out and enjoyable program. And no, it's not Shakespeare. It's freaking Toriko. It's a show about guys just fighting monsters and eating them. But there's still some other plots that are starting to get introduced, and they're starting to build it up a little bit more. There are some villains in the series. They're not very clear about who they are yet, but still, this is just a really fun shonen series that is starting to do some stuff that's a little more different. I like to compare it maybe to Fairy Tail. It's like the next generation of shonen series. You know, the manga series just got started up in 2005, and I believe the anime series started in 2011. And one more side note I just want to mention, if you guys were watching the series when it very first started airing, the very first episode was actually a crossover with One Piece. And they do not include that episode in this box set. And that sort of confounds me a little bit because Funimation owns the license rights to One Piece. They own Dragon Ball. They own Toriko now. So I figured it would make sense they can do it. But apparently there's some other licensing issues that are not able to get it to work out. So you're not going to get that One Piece Toriko crossover. But it's not really that big a deal. It's just an excuse to see Luffy and Toriko hang out a little bit. But if you guys can check that episode out online, it is still worth seeing. But still, it's not too much of a loss here. This is all about Toriko. And this is just a fun new series that I cannot wait to start collecting. And Funimation, if you are listening, you got Fairy Tail, you got Toriko. Let's get some Hunter x Hunter in there now, and the circle will officially be complete. So if you guys are looking for a brand new, awesome action series with some characters who go on some gastronomical feats, check out Toriko. It's really fun. It's really inventive. And also, I just want to mention one more final thing. I did watch mostly the Japanese dub because that's what I do prefer. But to be fair, I did watch the first 2 episodes in English as well, just to see how they sounded. And I will admit, in English, it is actually pretty damn funny. And a lot of the voice actors, you know, they do change some of the things in the script. But there are a lot of lines the characters say that I could see that could possibly become meme-worthy. They're so funny. So check out the English dub. Check out the Japanese version. It's all good. It's Toriko. It's from Funimation. This is the first set, episodes 1 through 13. They're going to release some more sets later this year, so make sure and check those out wherever you can purchase anime. I recommend rightstuff.com or amazon.com. However, I picked mine up at Fry's Electronics for $19.99. Yes, this has actually got an MSRP of about $40, so I got about half off what I paid for it. So make sure and shop around for your anime, guys. You can find some really great deals. Alright guys, so that's it for this review of Toriko Box Set 1. If you guys are fans of Toriko, let me know what you think about the series in your comments below. Remember guys, as always, make sure and hit that like button and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps them out a lot. I cannot tell you guys how important that is. That concludes this review today. SuperKamiGuru9000, out.